Welcome to Bat Therapy, mental health through the lens of comics and film. Be a fly on the wall or a bat in the cave, listening in on a friendship built out of a love for talking Batman, comics, and the everyday struggle to achieve mental health and happiness.
We are your hosts, clinical psychologist Dr. Emilia Brown and educator and comic aficionado Keaton Hopkins. Don't forget to follow us on YouTube and social media and find our Patreon at patreon.com/battherapy.
This podcast is about providing education and understanding and is not a replacement for mental health treatment or support. If you're needing help, go to bat-therapy.com for resources.
Okay, so I guess we have to explain ourselves because we're doing like a Doomsday, like warm up to Doomsday, and we are gonna touch on a character today that is
may
probably
or may not
in
be
Doomsday.
He's probably not in Doomsday, but
We're gonna talk about why not.
right, because here's the thing, and I was mentioning this to Emilia earlier. New York is like a main hub of superheroes. Like, it's kind of like New York City is kind of like Atlanta's airport. Like, if you want to get anywhere, you have to go through New York. The same way if you fly through Delta on the East Coast, at some point you're going to go through Atlanta, right?
Yep.
Like, it's just, that's just how it goes. And so if Avengers Doomsday is happening, we now know the Fantastic Four are in New York City. The Avengers are in New York City. The new Avengers are in New York City. The X-Men, upper state New York. Okay, does Marvel only give a shit about, okay, whatever. But yeah, like all of
they
these,
really only seem to care about the New York area.
Yeah, New York, like, oh man, we got to save that Statue of Liberty, I swear. Right? Like, even Avengers Endgame was at the New York, the upstate New York Avengers facility. Like, all of it's been in New York.
So which do you think is I'm as we always do, I'm sidebarring here, but which is worse to live in? Marvel New York City or DC Gotham?
DC Gotham. Okay,
It's still worse?
DC Gotham, I don't think anywhere as far as places to live go, I don't think anywhere is worse than
I mean,
Gotham.
I'll give it to you because I do think I would rather be killed by falling buildings from an alien invasion than by like a Joker poisoning.
Yeah.
So I'll give you if I have to choose death, I think I probably would go with the Marvel New York City.
Yeah. And plus the Marvel, I will go on this hill right now. The Marvel universe would not have a good time in Gotham. Like, Wolverine wouldn't want the hill anymore. Like, by the end of a weekend in Gotham, he's like,
enjoy
I'm
himself
done.
in Gotham though.
I'm done.
Work off some of that anger. So okay, we're in Marvel, which means we're in New York City, it seems.
Yeah.
And
so
yet,
Daredevil's there, Frank Castle's there, Luke Cage is there, Jessica Jones
Spider-Man's
is there, Spider-Man is there. Like, every single person.
But you actually, so all those people you listed so far, I don't think any of them are listed for Doomsday.
I think some of them are. I think Spider-Man is probably going to show up at some point.
It's like rumored that he's probably
because he's one of their money makers, and
I know
if Feige knows how to do anything, it's how to make money. And
Tom Holland, he's just a little cutie. I guess he's he's all grown up now, so maybe I should refer to him differently. But he's always gonna be a little cutie to me.
He just got married. Yeah,
cute little. Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
So okay, today Daredevil, Matt Murdock.
Yes.
Mainly because, so I've only watched one episode of the new season, but they've got a new season of the TV show out.
Mm-hmm.
Season 2 of, what is it called again? I always forget.
Born Again.
Born Again, thank you.
Yeah.
I should remember this. Born Again. I'm
Born Again. It's Easter
Bible
weekend.
Belt.
It's easy.
There you go, yeah. So we were like, hey, let's talk about it because it's fresh material, even though he's not like supposedly he's not in Doomsday.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. So I did a recruitment assessment for the Avengers Initiative for Daredevil / Matt Murdock. Because it's like, okay, well, one, if he's in the movie, but also just generally speaking, they would look at recruiting loads of people. They don't always take everybody, right? So I was thinking about, okay, what might they think about Matt Murdock? What might they think about Daredevil? Ignoring all of the really hinky stuff going on. So, like, if y'all are watching the show, there's just a ton of stuff going on in New York. Things
Yeah.
are busy.
Yeah.
It's a little bit too much like real life in the United States right now, to be honest. But
It
aside
is. Yes, that
aside from that,
anti-vigilante task force. Woo!
yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes it's a little bit too much like real life. But okay, we're setting that aside. I'm just thinking about Matt Murdock, Daredevil, generally speaking. So if, like Nick Fury or someone was looking at a recruitment assessment. So what I was thinking about for him is that his range of powers could be extremely useful. Great for stealth, great for hand-to-hand combat. That's not a surprise there. He also has this clear persistence and will to fight, and will literally fight and get up and fight until his dying breath. And he's very comparable to Captain America in terms of that resolve that he has. But in contrast, something that might be nice about Matt Murdock is he's able and willing to work in the gray a lot more than Captain America is.
Yeah.
He's willing to accept some varying definitions of what justice might be. However, he very much does not play well with others unless there's potential for him to sleep with them. And then he seems to pair up with people pretty well.
He does.
And
Yeah.
so therefore, he, while doesn't play well with others, might be easily manipulated from this angle.
I mean, yeah, we saw what happened with Elektra.
Exactly. And that's not
Yeah.
the only chick. He seems to only really pair up with the ladies.
Yeah.
Or, I
Yeah.
mean, he, sometimes he works with other people, but the only
Yeah.
people he plays nicely with and actually
Yeah.
seems to like try to work alongside them
Yeah.
seem to be women that he has
'cause
had or may
She-Hulk.
have sex with.
Yeah, She-Hulk. Yeah, because that's the
There you
last
go.
time. It's the last time we saw
See,
her.
he's
Yeah.
got a, you know.
A type, a thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Um,
that's, I think if they were going to work with him, they would,
He's got some.
they need a Black Widow to work
That's
their
about to say
magic on him.
He's got some James Bond in him, doesn't he?
Yeah. So that's essentially my thoughts on him is that they could use him for the down and dirty stuff. And while I mean his powers are, I think, really helpful. They're more on the like stealth side versus, he's not like your power hitter like, the people with godlike powers like Thor.
Yeah.
But there's definitely a time and a place for sneak and stealth and hand-to-hand dirty combat.
Yeah. It's funny because normally I would think like, he's definitely the stealth type guy. But in this season,
Oh, that's true.
it is just to the wall. Like, oh, a room full of people. Guess I'll beat the hell out of every single
He
one
gives
of them.
0 Fs this season.
None. And that's the thing. It's so funny because you mentioned like he's Captain America, like how Captain America's like, I can do this all day. When Daredevil does it, it almost seems
You
like
see it.
it almost feels like it's a kink. Like he's into this. Like it's different.
Which lines up with what I was saying about who he teams up with.
Yeah. It seems like he's really like,
So I
let's
think
do
you
this.
have a point here. Okay. So I think there's really something to be said for that. So Captain America, let's compare him with Steve Rogers because you have these two characters who will just keep going. And Steve Rogers, okay, granted, he's very strong and powerful, but even before he had the powers, he was like this. And Matt Murdock even was like this before his powers, right? These are things ingrained in them, in their personalities and who they are. So Steve Rogers, he comes from a place really of empathy and caring and not liking to see the little guy get beat down. Matt Murdock comes from a place of we are the little guy that keeps getting beat down, and we got to figure out how to use that grit to just keep going.
Mhm.
And so, with Steve Rogers, you don't see that same kind of, you said kink or like level of desperation. Essentially,
Yeah.
he can't help it. He
Yeah.
literally it's like he has to find a fight that he may lose. He like has to
Yes.
live on the edge.
He fights to the bone. Yeah, he does.
Yes,
It's like,
and he
oh yeah.
has to. It's like he You know, people who, if he didn't have this, he'd probably be like skydiving all the time and bungee jumping and racing a motorcycle. And he'd probably be doing all those sorts of things that just have you living on the edge.
All
Because,
things I
yeah, he
wonder if you
just,
could do blind. Like, I wonder if like he could
well, his
manage to
kind
do
of
that.
blind, you could.
Right. Yeah,
I
I
hear,
guess
I hear
so.
you. If he was only blind and he wasn't like blind,
Right.
like special blind,
Right.
then
Yeah. Like he's yeah.
yeah, speeding along in a motorcycle probably doesn't. I bet you could skydive though. I mean, you might have to always do it tandem, but
Yeah.
I'm sure.
But it's just he is, and he's also just a very interesting. So as far as being in the Avengers go, we'll hit that again. But I feel like the MCU could use him just as a lawyer, right? He is a fish out of
Actually
water
seems
in
to
the
be when he
sense,
pops up.
yeah.
Yeah.
In the comics, that's when he pops up. He pops up a lot.
When he did in Spider-Man?
Spider-Man, yeah,
Yeah.
No Way Home, yeah, and yeah, he shows up there,
And in She-Hulk, kind of
yeah,
both.
yeah. Yeah, and so that'd be a solid law firm, right? Yeah, I
There you go.
he is a almost like a fish out of water in the MCU because he's a good lawyer in a sea full of bad ones, right?
Yeah, well,
Because it's always even, and it's so funny that you mentioned how he likes getting into the fist fights that he might lose. Those are also the kind of court cases he takes. He doesn't take the
exactly.
easy wins. Like he
Yep.
is all about like,
And you see it. So
yeah,
Foggy, R.I.P. So yeah, I'm still angry about that. So
same.
Foggy, you see a lot of that in the original Daredevil TV show with them. So before Born Again happened,
Mhm,
there's all of this where you see Foggy is more down to earth
mhm,
and realistic about things, and Matt Murdock really wants to push the envelope and risk it all. He likes a gamble. And so yeah, I think you're right. So a big part of what I do as a therapist, honestly, is I tell people all the time, I'm a strong believer that the things that you see as like your best traits or the things that are your strengths, your greatest strengths tend to also be your greatest weaknesses. It's just how these things work because these are
mhm,
essentially it's like your strongest traits, right? Or the things that are most palpable about you. And nearly everything, if not everything in life, has a flip side. It's got its pros and its cons. And so I think you're totally right. So this drive that he has, he needs to constantly be stimulated. He needs the gamble. He needs to essentially be constantly fighting to get up from being beat on the ground. And being a lawyer is actually an adaptive way that he's learned to feed into these things versus like you see his dad who ends up in all of these like tricky situations as a boxer and this that and the
mhm.
other. Being a lawyer is a way of feeding some of those things in a way that is going to have more benefits than it does drawback.
Right. He's not going to limp away from the courtroom. Like it's just,
Exactly. And
yeah.
now you got to be careful. I mean, we see with him how it's not enough. And then he adds the vigilante stuff because within the law is not enough for him. And him and
Mhm,
Foggy, like, feud over that quite a bit. So, it doesn't satiate him completely, I guess you could say. But I mean, one of the things that is probably, I mean, you were talking about this season. Well, he can't be a lawyer anymore. That might be part of why he's just all over the place. He doesn't have those like healthy ways of working through some of those drives that he's got. Not to mention the fact that, I mean, he's a wanted guy at this point.
yeah. He
Doesn't
doesn't
make
have to go to,
anything
he can
easier.
sleep all day now. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he can sleep all day now. It's what keeps it's what keeps Bruce out of the suit at times. It's like, hey, I have to be a CEO today. But yeah, he's essentially now just completely locked in. But also, this is also a New York City that is under martial
Yeah.
law as well. Like he
Yeah.
is not
Which is
only
absolutely a part of his change, shall we say.
yeah, it's been a big shift because now all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, so y'all are going to outright loudly break the
Mhm.
law. In that
Yeah.
case, let's get to it, right?
And
Like in
not
that,
only
yeah.
that, but can I just, like, get on my soapbox about his ex? Oh my god, Dr. Heather Glenn is
Whew,
a pain in my ass.
holy trauma, Batman.
She she angers me. So I've only seen the first episode of the season by the
Right,
when people listen to this. I think you've watched all 3 that have come out by now.
right. Well, in the
So I don't
yeah,
know how much happens with her from here, but so much you see already in that first episode with her. She
mhm,
is very clearly needing to take care of some stuff for herself,
yes,
and is letting it impact her work. And she is becoming extremely unethical and such a hypocrite that makes me so angry because she is
yeah,
essentially turning into an anti-vigilante vigilante
yeah,
because she herself is going against the rules and being unethical and not using the structure and the system that is meant to be there. She is pulling strings and literally doing things that are wrong.
yeah.
I forget the
It's
character,
nasty.
but there's a character who she gives an assessment to, and
Swordsman.
the swordsman, thank you. And she gives him the MMPI, and they're like, "Oh, so change it so he looks like a sociopath." And she's like, "Yeah, okay."
Yeah. I had a
Um,
question for you about that too. I'll let you finish, but yeah.
yeah, yeah. It might be something I was going to mention anyway. I'm interested
Okay.
to hear what your question is, but so essentially, what they're suggesting is that her shift is the trauma she went through. So she had that vigilante, or actually, I mean, he was more of a serial killer. There was that guy who was her patient, her client, who attacked her. And so essentially, anytime she's being asked to do these things that are not great things, like, hey, lie for us, or hey, change these things for us, or da 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 da, they're showing her she's re-experiencing, she's seeing her attacker. They're
Mhm.
suggesting she potentially might even have some psychosis, which can happen with trauma.
Right.
It's not just with things like schizophrenia. So she will like see this guy. She'll be remembering, things will trigger her. She will re-experience. She will see him, and then she'll go along with whatever she's being asked to do. Like, okay, the swordsman, we got to put him away. So the assessment you gave him isn't giving us enough juice. We can't put him away unless you change it. Then this is a really great example of why, you got to take care of yourself, or you could be doing more harm than good, essentially.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, I had a couple questions about that. So, first and foremost, the amount of information that she got is in the real world. Is that much information able to be taken in from one meeting with a person?
Question. So, um, it seems like she's doing a like forensic approach, at
Okay.
least in that first episode, which is interesting because there's no suggestion of her being more forensic leaning before that. So, gosh, this is taking me back. I think we talked about forensic psychology, forensic psychiatry, like during our first or second
Well,
season, and
we had the
we've talked.
author that did
Yes,
Mindhunt. Yes.
Michael Sharippa, Dr.
Yes.
Sharippa. Yeah, so we've hit on forensic stuff a few times. So definitely recommend. He was a fantastic guest. Definitely
Yeah.
recommend folks like looking back for that stuff. So essentially, we're talking about doing things within the legal system. And so a lot of times with forensic, you're looking at crime, you're assessing, you're assessing things like, um, is a person able to stand trial? Was a person aware and essentially have like decisional capacity and the ability to recognize they were breaking the law when they were breaking the law? They might do. It seems like she was essentially doing an intake and an assessment to try and have a sense of what kind of person he is. And uh, I couldn't entirely tell where they were going with it, but they were using
Yeah.
it to inform court, which absolutely can happen. And so, um, a lot of times with these sorts of things, you can meet with people multiple times, but actually, a lot of assessment is you do a really thorough intake where you find out a lot about a person's background, all sorts of different information about how they grew up and what their mental health and physical health and other things were like. And then doing assessments like this can actually really help to inform things. So, not just relying on what a person is reporting to you as you talk to them and ask them these questions. You can do structured questions, but you can also do like structured self report measures. So, asking people to answer questions about themselves, about their mental health, and other things. The MMPI they mentioned directly here, the MMPI is an extremely popular assessment
Mhm.
when you're looking at what we call psychodiagnostics, when you're looking at, um, breaking down what kinds of symptoms or mental health issues a person might have, but then also just looking at patterns of like what kinds of person they are, what kind of character traits they have. The MMPI is extremely long. It's hundreds of questions long. So this is not for someone who is a poor reader by any means. And it what what's really great about the MMPI is so many of the assessments that we give people are what you might call face valid. You ask a question and it's obvious what I'm asking you about. Like I ask you about a list of depression symptoms and ask if you have them. And you're going to know, oh, they're asking about depression. And knowing what someone's asking you about can sometimes affect how you answer it.
Okay.
So the MMPI is a little bit different where they said, okay, well, let's have a bunch of people answer all of these different questions and let's look at what types of people answered in what different kinds of ways. So some of the questions are more obvious about asking about things and others are just really random. It could be something random like, I like to work on cars. That it has no clear indicator of mental health, right? So it can have just a bunch of random stuff. And so what they did is they said, okay, so someone who's like inpatient with psychosis, let's look at this group of people. How do they tend to answer these questions? Someone with psychopathy, which is what they were looking for, how do they tend to answer these questions? Someone who has a lot of anxiety, et cetera, et cetera. So they just kind of look to see how different groups of people might answer these questions. um, and so the MMPI would be extremely appropriate for what she's doing. The question they showed her changing to make it look like he was a sociopath seemed kind of weird to me. I mean,
Okay.
it was a question related that I would see more related to like experiencing um like visual and like I forget what it was, something about like you feel like spirits are watching you, or I can't remember what the question was, but I was like,
Yeah.
that feels more like the psychosis related stuff than
Right.
the psychopathy related stuff, but
Well,
all right, whatever.
and I do think it was kind of interesting that when she asked that question, I think that's when she saw Muse in the
Yeah.
mirror. Like, it
Yeah.
was like, okay, that's interesting that that's the question she
It's like,
was on and then saw that. Yeah.
mhm. And
Uh,
so she's getting triggered. Yeah. Different things
mhm.
are like triggering her to re-experience and see her victimizer.
And one other thing I was going to say too is because this is also an extremely corrupt justice system that the swordsman is in. Because in my mind, if you have a prosecutor that has a psychologist come in and
She's
essentially
psychiatry, but yeah.
psychiatrist, I apologize. Yeah. Come in and it's like, hey, we're going to prove that this guy is more or less like, I guess they were going for almost like the insanity
No,
route,
they're
or
looking.
were they
I believe they wanted him. I think they were saying they wanted him to look like a sociopath. So they
okay?
essentially want him
Okay,
to
that's
look
it.
like he has no empathy.
Right. Oh gosh, I'm just getting all my vocab wrong. It's been so long.
Well, there's also, like, I don't know, like, I've never sociopath versus psychopath versus blah, 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 I've never understood all that stuff, but, essentially, they they want vigilantes to look evil and bad and,
right.
like, people that you should definitely want to go to prison.
So, and I guess in my mind, in a uncorrupt system, what should have happened was, okay, the district attorney sends in their psychiatrist, but he could also have
Mm.
his.
And so here's a difficult piece. I mean, he was definitely coerced into completing it,
Right.
right? Because, like, when it's coming up, it was essentially, I believe they threaten his family or something if he
Yeah.
doesn't complete it. So that's not ethical. Now, a lot of people who have been through the system would argue that there's plenty of coercion. It's just usually not
That
that
on the
kind of
nose.
coercion. It might be things like, if you don't do X, Y, or Z, then we're going to take your ability to visit your kids away, or we're going to go for a larger penalty, or this, that, or the other. And, you know, so I'm not here to say that there's not coercion out there. Our system is
Of
absolutely
course.
not perfect.
Yeah.
However, I mean, this was like over the top. Like, we're gonna kill people you love if you don't do this thing, which is like, that's usually not, kind of the level you see. So yeah, it's absolutely. So I mean, his defense could absolutely bring someone in to look at things from a different direction.
Like, no, he's
Um,
not a sociopath. Like, it's very clear he's
mhm.
not. Right.
Yeah, so, like, take the test with them, and so the MMPI is just because the MMPI also is, because there's so many questions, it's got really good ways of just trying to help you see, like, "Hey, does the way this person answers the questions make sense?" So, a lot of tests don't let you know that. But the MMPI, like, it looks at patterns. So if the patterns don't make sense, like this isn't matching up with anything that we tend to see, it's gonna kind of be like uh, it's gonna suggest, like, okay, something, maybe we can't trust the results of this assessment.
Right.
So it's got like some double checks to it that some others don't, which is really nice. So she'd have to really know what she's doing, which she might, because if she does these tests quite a bit, she would know which questions, how to try and respond to it. But the swordsman, probably would not. So I'm guessing he's going to not say anything because he doesn't want his family to die. But if he were wanting to fight it, he could, yeah, just like take it over with someone else and be like, does this guy really know enough about how these kinds of tests work to fake it? Like, why would he have two drastically different response patterns?
And yeah, and it's very clear that this test was like not the test that you would normally see because it was not like normally a test like that, I feel like it would be much more objective. But the things that she was writing down, it felt like her personal opinion. It felt way more subjective than
Oh, yeah, she annoys me.
objective. Yeah, yeah.
So, I mean, her character annoys me. She started annoying me later last season and continues to annoy me, and I'm sure I'll have a lot of angry rants later. Um, so I mean, the assessments like an MMPI are really great because, yes, they're meant to be standardized and to remove as much of that subjectivity as you can. So, and so essentially, we're trying to remove the opinions and the biases of the people involved as much as possible, and just look at what can we know. But the tricky thing is that at the end of the day, I mean, even these tests, I mean, they're made by people. So, like, for example, there are certain populations of people who, if they take the MMPI, they are more likely to look like they have psychosis than other populations of people.
Okay.
And it has nothing to do with having a psychotic disorder. So, if you're African American, you are more likely to look like you might have psychosis if you take the MMPI versus a white person. And it just has to do with how different groups of people might answer these questions based on probably cultural background type stuff, right?
Hmm.
And so the bias here is we tend to make things for white people. And so it doesn't always work as well for other groups of people. We're getting better at that. But historically, I
That's
mean,
been a
let's be
thing.
real, right? It makes sense that it works better for white people because that's kind of how we built everything. So, just like a lot of things work better for men because we built them for men and not for women, right? Like seatbelts work better for men. So it's kind of one of those things where, um, I'm not saying that to like shame the assessment. You have to stay informed that nothing is completely objective. Nothing is so standardized that you can just remove any need to look further and really think and explore the data. It's why you can't just print it out and be like, I know everything about this test. People train in these assessments so that they can look at it and put it into the context of the interview they did with the person to pull it all together so that you're not accidentally like misdiagnosing someone, for example. So yeah, you're right. It absolutely is less subjective, it's more data driven, it's much more standardized. You're clearing out a lot of the unknowns, but honestly, I mean, I've done a number of MMPIs and you can still have plenty of question marks at the end, and there's absolutely no way to completely take out all subjectivity. And that's I and I just wanna throw out there, that's completely different than what she's doing, which is blatant disregard for the assessment and lying and skewing things and being like, literally saying she hates vigilantes by essentially doing vigilante stuff, which
Yeah.
really irks me.
And in for a legal precedent, and the thing is, the way that she was answering these questions, like I said, she was answering them very subjectively, and without like any kind of proof that, oh, this is what he's exhibiting. It was oh, rather open ended. I feel like in the real world, like in a court system or justice system, something like this should be voice recorded rather than just written, right? Because otherwise, I feel like you could lose a lot of content. It's kind of like, hey, we need to talk on the phone instead of texting because you can pick up things differently in text than you
Yeah,
would if
yeah.
you heard someone say something say something, right? Like if it's like if
Yeah.
someone was just talking and I was like, "Oh, I hate that." And it's like, "Oh, you wrote it down. He hates that." Right? And it's like, "Whoa, two very different things." I was like, "Yeah, I'm just not a fan of that place's food. I don't actually hate that restaurant." Like
Yep.
like it's yeah. And
So
so
and I think you're also pointing out, like, I mean, even recording something, it's not that simple. You, me, random person down the street, if we watch the same video, one of us is going to see that inflection of I hate, and another person might be like, I hate it, or right. Our Who we are impacts what we see, and what we're dealing with even in that moment in time affects what we see, what we hear. And so I think you've got a good point, and there are some I honestly, in these kinds of situations, I don't know how often things are recorded. But there are times where people record, and I think you're bringing up some reasons that it can be helpful. And also, at the end of the day, I think you're pointing out something about why it's so important to, as best you can, find high quality people to do this work, because it's so hard to not let your biases color things in a way that can become a problem. I mean, even your example, I mean, it sounds as simple as like, oh, they made it seem like I really am upset here, and I'm not that upset at all. But that could be the in this kind of situation. that could be the difference in, within the legal system. Like, what do people do next? Do they give you, like, how does a jury respond? How does a judge respond? Right? Like, there are all these factors that can affect, or in therapy, even if it's not those kinds of stakes. If your therapist keeps honing in on something that's different than what the issue is for you, that can cause some really big disconnects that really seriously get in the way of therapy. So, I think you're hitting on something really tricky about just any of this work when it comes to people.
Yeah. And so he's definitely between a rock and a hard place, being coerced there. She clearly has some trauma from season 1 and almost being killed by Muse, which is saying something because she was saved by
But then she was all like, I saved
Daredevil.
myself. It's like, not
Okay.
alone.
Okay, sure.
Can
Whatever.
you tell how much she annoys me?
I can, and I
Gotten like this on the podcast very often. Oh my goodness.
that since Chase Meridian, she really got to you too.
Did she?
From
Well, I'll have to re-listen to that episode.
I mean, she's the psychologist that's just horny. Remember from Batman Forever? Yeah, her.
I forgot the horniness got to me. Yeah. I gotta
But
tell you, man, it tends to be female characters. I don't know what it is, but I think there's a certain way that female characters are sometimes written that I'm like, I can't stand her.
yeah,
I don't know what it is.
yeah. Half the time the Bechdel test goes out the window. Like just
Yeah, it's
yeah,
just can't tolerate. Yeah. Yeah, she you're right. She's a struggling. There's she also, I mean, she has legitimate concerns about vigilantes. She Yeah, like you said, I mean, one saved her, like saved her life, but she can't even see it. There's just a block where she can't even acknowledge how a vigilante there actually is how she was able to save herself.
save herself. Right. Um, and then one other thing that we hadn't talked about that pops up in the first episode is BB Urich, whose uncle was murdered by Wilson Fisk, and she's basically popping in, pretending to be helping him, but having her own uh ulterior motive.
Dude, that
What?
girl's gotta be careful because she's treating that friend like he's kind of a bumbling innocent, and I think it's gonna bite her in the butt.
Yeah. He's that's Michael Gandolfini's character, which there's certain things he does where he reminds me so much of his dad. Like I can see it. James Gandolfini, R.I.P.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
There's so much stuff he does. I'm like, I can see that. That's so cool. But yeah, she has to be very careful. And also like, it's so interesting because in superhero universe, everyone just has a vendetta. It's just one of those things. Like it's just, like and it's funny because like in real life, we do all have somebody we want revenge on, but apparently it's
really?
just
Who do
we
you
all
want
do.
revenge on, Keith?
That is for that we will chat when we're not recording. There's plenty, not plenty, but what I was going to say is lifelong vendettas apparently just make great comic books. Like it's just like I could get therapy or I can make a costume. Like it's just it's just
sounds easier.
It's just one of those things. Like it's like Peter Parker. It's like, I got these superpowers. My uncle just died. I should go
In
beat up some
fairness to
bad
Peter
guys.
Parker, I don't think he can afford the copay.
How did he afford the costume? I'm still trying to figure that out.
Sadly, in the United States, though, he
Yeah,
probably doesn't have insurance, and even if he
right.
does, he wouldn't be able to afford the copay, which is,
Oh,
makes me cringe.
I'm glad Peter
I
Parker
hate
has
that I
Obamacare.
hate that I'm joking, but it's also not a joke. It makes me feel so terrible about our system. Yeah, in fairness to him, he might not have as much of an option, but that's true. How did he come up with the costume?
But yeah, because I
Yeah.
mean, we've seen these characters, some of these characters for a while now. Because even Karen Page, just like she's been through
Yeah.
a lot,
Yeah.
a lot.
Fine. I don't know. They keep bringing back her character, and I'm like,
Well, I think that they did a switcheroo because in the original comic, Daredevil Born, she was the one that was killed, not Foggy. Yeah, and
oh,
so that's
spoilers, but you could have watched it last year, I guess. Sorry, everyone, if you didn't watch the first season. Well, if you
okay.
didn't watch the first 10 minutes,
If
really.
you're listening to our season 2, episode 1 episode of Daredevil Born right now, it should be very clear.
Look,
Like,
all
yeah,
you had to do was watch the first 10 minutes of the first season, first episode to
yes,
get all this spoiled about poor Fox.
yeah. Ugh, maybe
Yeah,
they'll bring him back. We got a multiverse now. Maybe
be
maybe
wonderful.
they'll bring him back. That'd be
They
cool.
won't. It was just so brutal out of
It was
nowhere.
pretty
I was like,
rough.
maybe it was the end of the episode. Was it? No, it was the start of the
It was
episode?
early. It was early.
That's what I
Yeah.
thought. I thought it was like it happened, and Bill and I just turned to each other like, "What?"
No, it happened because there was like a time skip there. It's like, oh yeah, this many months later, or this many weeks later, or something like that. I'm interested. I almost want to come back to this after you finish the season because
Yeah.
my boy Wilson Fisk, he's still just as interesting as
Oh,
ever.
yeah? Yeah,
And
I feel like we didn't get too much interesting stuff about him with this first episode. It's just him ruling the city.
well, we get to kind of see him interact with some people that are higher on the totem pole than him, which is something I don't think he is used to. And
No,
so,
that's true. They did start showing a little bit of that in that first episode.
yeah,
That it's like, okay, you gotta answer to some other people.
yeah.
And
It's like you're
yeah,
the
I
mayor
could
of
see
New
that being
York.
interested.
Like, yeah, you're the mayor of New York, but you're not the governor of New York, right? Like it's like stuff like that. And so it's gonna be very interesting. And I hope that this comes into play when Avengers Doomsday comes around, because if this is set in the MCU, I'm like, how are the new Avengers gonna feel about the anti-vigilante task force when Doctor Doom shows up? How's that gonna go over? How's Cap gonna feel about that after post Sokovian Accord? Like, wait a minute, I really could do this all day.
Oh my god. Yeah, I honestly, when it comes to Doomsday, it's got some winning over of me to do, I think. So, we're talking about a
Yeah,
character here that they haven't mentioned being in the movie, might not be in the movie, but once again, should be
yeah,
because in New York, blah blah blah. Blah. But like this is why I never truly delved into Marvel Comics. So I've like dipped my toe in here and there. I've read Civil War. I've read a few, like Wolverine. I've done a few things here and there, but I just can't fully dip my toe in. I can't go all the way in with that. Just like I can't go all the way in with some of the like big DC storylines because I feel like once you get past a handful of characters, things get so complicated so quickly. You're we were just talking about how complicated it is just like do an assessment on one person because of all the different like throw in, we've got how many different characters, powerful characters that are coming into play. And technically all this New York City stuff is going on. Like how would that even relate? I mean
yeah,
it's hard to put it all together in one place and especially do it in a way where like I love a TV show because you can just really hone in on the characters.
yeah. Here's a fun one. I was hoping you'd catch it. Can we talk about the irony of the anti-vigilante task force all wearing Punisher skulls on their vests?
Oh, God.
Like you said, this season's a little bit on the nose. Yeah.
Let's just say that New York City desperately needs a Mamdani.
Right? Like, bring him. Come on, man. Do it.
People in New York City right now who are watching that show are probably like, oh, thank God.
Jesus Christ. Oh, my God.
Like, it's just so awful.
Really is.
I watched this show and it's just so, and it did this to me last season too. And I've only watched one episode of the season, but it's like so awful. And then I think to myself, just kind of another day now. Like I wonder what it would have been like for me to watch this show before it felt so much like real life.
Well, it's funny because the MCU has like New York in the MCU has two different personalities, it seems like. It's like the New York that we get in the Avengers movies. And then it transforms into Gotham City at night.
Thank you. Exactly.
For Hell's Kitchen. It's like, whoa, this ain't the same. Like, this just got 3 times more corrupt that night. Like, I thought the court system was closed that night.
Hell's Kitchen.
Maybe. It's called Hell's Kitchen, right? Like, yeah.
Who named it that? Like, come on.
I don't know. That'll be a fun one to look up. Or our fans can talk to us and tell us why.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are trying to build up. By the way, if you're listening, speaking of fans, we're trying to build up our YouTube. So make sure you subscribe over there if you haven't. And that's a good way to make comments on videos too.
Yes.
Like, subscribe. We haven't reminded people to do this in a while. Like, subscribe,
smash
review,
that like
blah,
button.
Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Do the kids these days use Wikipedia anymore?
Yeah, absolutely. As a teacher, I can definitely say they use Wikipedia. I'm constantly telling them it's a great resource, but it's not a source. Yeah. So yeah, they definitely use Wikipedia.
Okay. Because when I said wiki, I was like, "Oh, am I aging myself here?"
No.
Okay.
No. Wikipedia is still relevant. Still fighting a good
thank
fight.
God. Although Google's about to be irrelevant, the whole world's falling apart. You know, might as well just watch Daredevil and
yes,
watch things fall apart on TV as they fall apart around me.
Watch Daredevil. Listen to our podcast. You're not alone. We love you.
Hey.
Thanks for nerding out with us. I'm clinical psychologist Dr. Emilia Brown.
And I'm educator and comic aficionado Keaton Hopkins. Check out my TV and movie reviews on YouTube at Team JBS. Check out our website at bat-therapy.com, our Bat Therapy YouTube channel, and follow us on social media. And don't forget our Patreon page at patreon.com/battherapy. See you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.